pouring into our ladies of all ages, as an individual who kind of aligns with what we're trying to do in the community, giving back to the community, but also aligns in the idea of the theme, bend not broken, you decide. An individual who made decisions to not only better herself, but also better the community and what that looks like. So I called her and said, hey, are you busy on the 30th? She was like, I'm super busy, let me check my schedule. Luckily she travels, I think this weekend she leaves, so we got her right before she leaves. But we're super grateful to have her here. We met a few years ago in the city of St. Pete through the Equity Center and a few different meetings we had, and just crossing paths with community advocacy. And it's really cool to kind of share the platform together. And it's really cool to see the direction she's going in to do community impact, running for House District 62, and kind of taking it by storm as far as laying a platform to be the next one to represent us. And so it's without further ado and great pleasure to introduce y'all keynote speaker for the ladies today, Ms. Kyandra Darling.
Thank you. And thank you, Josh, for inviting me to be here.
Appreciate it.
It is an honor to be here with you all today. As Josh shared, my name is Kyandra Darling, and I am the one of my generation bold enough to run for office next year. So I want to take a brief moment to just thank Servant Church Ministries, St. Petersburg College, and all of the partners who made this moment possible. I know that you all don't understand this just yet, but being in rooms like this and being exposed to people in the community are the opportunities that led me to standing in front of you today. So let me begin with a moment of truth with you all. I didn't always see myself standing in front of rooms like this one. I didn't always think that I belonged at the table, let alone did I think that I could actually help to build the table. But I'm here, not because I was ready, but because I made the decision to show up anyway. I am a fourth generation resident of St. Petersburg, and I was raised in one of the poorest neighborhoods of this city. Anybody knows where Botley Park is? Oh, okay. I was born and raised in Botley Park. So I am a product of that neighborhood, and I still live there, and I raise my son there today. That neighborhood is full of life, full of culture, but it is also full of challenges. Sometimes we had more month than we had resources, but we had plenty of love, and there was lots of wisdom on porches. We had joy in the struggle, and those streets helped me to become the woman that I am today. They made me strong, and they gave me purpose. Some folks look at neighborhoods like mine and they only see things that they would like to erase. They want to make new buildings. They want to move us out. I wasn't born into privilege, but I was born into purpose. And that's more powerful than any zip code. I've bent under grief when I lost my father just last year. I've been trying to hold it all together while feeling like I was falling apart. I've smiled in public while I've cried in my private spaces. And I've questioned at times everything: my faith, my future, and my ability to really create change. But I did not break. Not because I'm Superwoman, but because God kept me, because my community covered me, because I remembered the prayers that were prayed over me before I even knew I needed them, because I made a decision again and again and again to believe that my story was still being written. So let's talk about mindset. And I'm not talking about the cute little posts that you guys see on Instagram. I mean the kind that says, I may be afraid, but I'm going to show up anyway. That kind of mindset doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't wait for applause. All it needs is a made-up mind. Leadership is not about being ready. There will always be a moment in your life where you say, I need to learn more. I need to do more. And that's okay. Being a leader is about being willing to ask tough questions, willing to challenge systems, willing to stand in the gap even when it means you are standing there alone, simply because you believe it is the right thing to do. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't need a title to lead. You just need to say yes. So I decided to run for office this year after we came off of the presidential campaign last season. I started looking at my community and listening to the people's concerns and fears around what their futures might hold. I took it upon myself to step up and to run because I believed that my community deserved somebody who was willing to fight, willing to continue to show up, and willing to challenge the status quo in order to build something better. So yes, I am a young Black woman in a state that does not always see us. But I refuse to wait until the world is comfortable for me to lead. I'm not waiting to be accepted. I'm choosing to show up anyway. Because when one of us rises, we all rise. But I didn't get here alone. Faith brought me here. Favor opened doors. And community held me up. God's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing ones. And I said yes. Yes to the hard work. Yes to the calling. And yes to the uncertainty. When I first started talking to people about wanting to run for office at the end of last year, you know what they said to me? People aren't thinking about 2026 elections right now. That's too far out. People don't want to talk about elections. People don't want to talk about politics. Well, guess what? The house and the neighborhood that you live in are surrounded by politics. When you go to the grocery store and your parents are buying food for you, politics are helping to inform those costs and the prices that they are paying at the checkout lines. We don't get to decide that we're not in the mood because decisions will continue to be made without us. Since I had those conversations just 4 months ago, and people told me that folks would not be paying attention, I have raised over $53,000 in 4 months' time. And for those of you that don't know, some folks only raise $50,000 their entire campaign. I am still more than a year out. There were many times that I've been on this road and I had to ask myself, am I crazy? Why would I choose to do this? The job that I was working was fine. They were paying the bills and they treated me well. But I didn't feel like I was doing enough to change things for the people who were in this room and in this community. So don't listen to the naysayers. When you are called, be willing and ready to answer that call. Now I want to speak to you. To the young woman who's wondering if she's enough. To the parent who may be carrying silent burdens. To the one who keeps hearing people tell you, not yet. I want you to hear me. You may have been bent, but you are not broken. You are still here, still breathing, still called, still chosen. There is power in your story, movement in your mind, legacy in your name, and the world needs you to carry on. You don't need to wait until you arrive or until you get to a certain age. You don't need to have all of the answers. You just have to be willing. Willing to rise. Willing to grow. Willing to try again even when you fall down. Willing to believe. And if you remember nothing else from what I've said to you today, let it be this. Leadership is not about being ready. It's about being willing. Willing to bend and still choose not to break. Because when we bend, we are growing and we are becoming stronger than we ever were before. Thank you all for allowing me to share my time with you, my experience with you. I want you to walk out of here with your head held high, your shoulders strong, and your mind made up. Don't allow people to tell you it's not your time. Your time is whenever you are ready. You just have to be willing. Thank you all.